He ran a billion-dollar hedge fund, Harvard-educated, multilingual, smooth, brilliant. Then one day, he vanished. No press conference, no apology, just an email, a locked villa, and $200 million missing. This isn't fiction. This is Florian Homm, a man once celebrated as a financial genius who built one of Europe's fastest-growing hedge funds, then disappeared when it all fell apart. The FBI wanted him. The SEC filed charges. Investors were left with nothing. In Homm, he walked out of a villa in Italy and never looked back. So who was he? How did he pull off one of the most shocking financial vanishes of the modern era? And how is it possible that after all this, he's still free writing books, giving talks, and reinventing himself? This is the story of a man who didn't just steal money. He stole belief. And somehow, he got away with it. Florian Homm didn't blend in. He didn't want to. 6'8", designer suits, expensive cigars, always the loudest voice in the room, and often the smartest. He was born into German wealth but sharpened his edge at Harvard. He studied economics, spoke 5 languages, and saw capitalism not just as a system, but as a game to dominate. Early on, he worked for Wall Street giants like Merrill Lynch and Fidelity, but he wanted more control, fame, and leverage. So, in 2001, he launched Absolute Capital Management. It took off fast. Within a few years, the fund boasted over $1.2 billion under management. He was celebrated as Europe's next hedge fund genius. Media loved him, investors adored him. He didn't just sell results, he sold confidence. He wrote books, made bold predictions, and acted like he saw what others missed. But under the surface, he was inflating stock values, propping up tiny companies his fund already owned, using client money to create fake performance. It wasn't a strategy, it was a setup. And Florian knew exactly how far charm and a Harvard degree could take him before anyone asked questions. The numbers started looking too good. Even in down markets, Homm's fund was posting wins. Clean, consistent, suspiciously smooth. Then came the whistleblowers. Inside the company, people started noticing strange trades. Millions being funneled into obscure penny stocks, many of which were worthless. But they had one thing in common. Homm's fund already owned them. He was propping them up, buying shares of the same stocks to artificially inflate prices, then reporting those fake values to investors. On paper, growth. In reality, a ticking bomb. Auditors raised flags. Investors began asking tough questions. Regulators got curious. The SEC and FBI started circling. Then, in 2007, Florian Homm did the unthinkable. He sent an email to his board of directors and resigned. No warning, no explanation. Overnight, $200 million from the books. The market tanked, the fund collapsed. Absolute Capital Management was exposed as a house of cards. And Florian? He disappeared. No press, no interview, just silence and a hole where the money used to be. But this wasn't panic. It was precision. Because Homm wasn't just good at making money. He was better at disappearing when the money ran out. Florian Homm didn't run. He walked out of his Italian villa with a briefcase and vanished. No one saw where he went. No cameras, no footprints. Just a trail of fraud and an empty chair where a billionaire once sat. Interpol launched a global manhunt. The FBI added him to its most wanted list. He was spotted in Colombia, rumored to be hiding in Venezuela. Some claimed he'd had plastic surgery. Others said he was dead. But in 2013, 6 years later, he resurfaced. In a library. In Rome, authorities moved in. He was arrested. But here's the twist. Germany refused to extradite him to the United States. Homm claimed he had a debilitating neurological disorder and would die in U.S. custody. The courts agreed. He was released. Free, alive, talking. He went on to write a book, do interviews, give speeches about ethics and redemption. Florian Homm didn't just escape prison. He rewrote his narrative. He became the rarest of things in finance, a fugitive turned philosopher. And while investors never saw their money again, Homm reappeared with a new message. He wasn't a criminal. He was reformed. And somehow that was enough. Florian Homm is still free. No prison sentence, no restitution. Just books, interviews, and a new identity as a self-proclaimed redeemed man. For his victims, there's no closure. For regulators, no justice. And for the financial world, a lesson burned into the books. Homm's story isn't just about theft, it's about perception. How charisma can override caution. How wealth and education can blind people to red flags. He didn't sneak past the system. He walked through the front door because the system let him in. He showed that in finance, sometimes the con is wrapped in credibility. That a Harvard degree, bold confidence, and fake numbers can fool even sophisticated investors. What can we learn? Trust is earned, not packaged. And if something seems too consistent, too perfect, too untouched by risk, it probably is. Florian Homm exposed the cracks, then slipped through them. And today, he's not hiding. He's thriving. Florian Homm built an empire. He lied, manipulated, and stole over $200 million. Then he vanished. And somehow, when he came back, he walked free. He didn't just escape justice, he outlived it. His story isn't about financial genius. It's about how charm, status, and boldness can outsmart the system. How a man with the right suit and the right story can sell the unbelievable and walk away with everything. No ski mask, no getaway car, just a Harvard degree, a plan, and silence. If this story stunned you, like, subscribe, and drop a comment. Because these aren't movie plots. They're real. And sometimes the most dangerous heists don't happen in the dark. They happen in broad daylight,